Mackenzie Mays has been reporting for the Fresno Bee for 3 years.
Yeah, hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you in person, yeah, definitely.
Today, she's writing a piece on complaints that Republican Congressman Devin Nunes and his staff are never available to residents in his district.
But do you feel like he's not paying attention to his constituents here?
Oh, yeah, he's more concerned with protecting Trump than anything to do here in the Central Valley.
Nunes has been a top liberal target ever since he joined Trump's transition team. There are protests like this one outside his Clovis office every week. Still, he's not considered at risk of losing this fall in his deep red district.
I should be back in the newsroom soon. Okay, bye.
Mays doesn't typically cover politics, but she's the reporter who wrote a piece on a lawsuit filed against a winery Nunes is invested in. A winery employee who worked on a charity cruise alleged men she believed were important investors in the company did cocaine on board, drew straws for sex workers, and, quote, reviewed out loud and in detail the sexual services performed. The winery settled, but in a statement to Vice News said no one in the group had any personal or business connection to the winery. Nunes himself is not alleged to have been on the cruise or to have had anything to do with the cruise at all.
I'm Devin Nunes, and I approve this message.
But he did take the Fresno Bee's report seriously enough to release a 2-minute ad attacking the paper as fake news.
Sadly, since the last election, the Fresno Bee has worked closely with radical left-wing groups to promote numerous fake news stories about me.
The Bee responded to Nunes' attack with an editorial calling the ad fake news. But the blowback Mays got was intense.
Nice little hit job, you little radical socialist. You need to apologize to the American people, you corrupt bastards. Corrupt as hell.
Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
The president's attacks on the media started out as a way to discredit negative coverage, but have turned into something far more personal.
CNN is fake news. I don't take questions from CNN. John Roberts of Fox. Let's go to a real network.
And now, Trump's attacks have empowered some local politicians to take his tactics to the local level.
The Nunes story about the yacht and the winery and the cocaine, that was verbatim out of, privileged court documents. There's nothing that I could have, stretched or done. It seems like more and more politicians are succeeding in forcing us, the reporters, into the story, which I think is probably on purpose, right? It complicates things and it makes it harder for us to do our jobs.
How?
If somebody succeeds in making you the story, then are people going to believe you when you're telling it?
You want to call it a large protest?
Yeah, it was like 50 people.
Okay.
Debatable.
Let's say protest.
The job of a Fresno Bee reporter was already tough. Print circulations dropped from a peak of more than 163,000 daily subscribers in 2004 to just over 63,000 last year. So the Bees had to cut staff. And now a prominent elected official is trying to discredit the newspaper.
It's actually I actually feel bad for the people who work at the Bee because sadly it's become just a left-wing rag.
That was the last interview Nunes gave to the Bee. The congressman didn't talk to Vice News about this story either.
I think the perception out there that this is some, very left-wing product is just not accurate. We've endorsed Devin Nunes in every election that he's run in. If we continue to do our jobs the right way, most people eventually are going to realize that, they need us. There's certain stories out there, if we don't report them, nobody's going to report them.
So you are kind of just giving up on that pocket of the readership or the community that believes Devin Nunes.
I wouldn't say I'm giving up on them, but I do think that there's some people you're just never going to convince them.
The fake news attacks on the media seem to be working. According to a recent poll, 72% of Americans now believe news sources report things they know to be false. Even Republican voters who are disappointed with Nunes aren't sure who to believe.
I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. I really don't know because I don't have the objective reporting of facts to sort out those issues.
It sounds like you trust sort of your local politicians more than you trust the media.
The local politicians that I know, I trust. Yeah. I would trust more. Things have gotten so one-sided and divisive that, to me, when sometimes the media attacks somebody, it makes me favor them more, including Nunes.
Do you read the Fresno Bee?
Yes, I do. I read it every day.
How long have you been reading it for?
I used to throw the Fresno Bee. I was a paper boy. Really? So, I've been reading it since I was a kid.
Have you ever thought about giving up your subscription?
Yes, I have. But I in some ways, this might sound a little crazy, but there's a Chinese saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. So I kind of want to know what they're saying.